So this is the drone right here. This is the DJI Mavic Mini. The price is going to be changing, especially with the release of the second one, but I'll be putting up the price and a link to the drone in the description. But this thing is positively tiny. It fits into the palm of your hand, and I consider this such a vast improvement over the smaller, cheaper drones that I think it's definitely worth looking into. So what's the big headline? Well, it's very light, right? It's 249 grams. Right? This was not an accidental weight that DJI came up with. 249 skirts under the 250 gram limit. That exists in a lot of jurisdictions. Laws are constantly changing, they're being updated. So if you're traveling, be sure to look up the local laws. Regardless of how light or heavy your drone is, and regardless of whether you're certified or not, it is very important to just exercise common sense, decency. Don't fly too close to people. Don't disturb wildlife. Don't put anyone or yourself in danger. So what else is good about it? Well, it actually has onboard storage. Not all small drones have onboard storage. It has a onboard micro SD card. Okay, so I use a 128 gigabyte one. It lasts you a very long time with this drone, even if you're shooting 2.7K video. One of the great things is the long battery life of this drone. Now, I believe DJI says the drone has a 30 or 31 minute battery life. Now, in practice, with some wind and some messing around, you're going to get around, I think, closer to 25 to 26 minutes of flight time per battery. But that is an absolutely phenomenal amount of flight time. Okay, if you get the Fly More combo, you do get the rapid charger station from DJI. You can charge all three batteries very quickly through a USB connection. You just press the button on the side, and it gives you an update of the charge levels of the batteries. Okay, they do deplete over time, but it's not too bad. Just charge them up the night before or the morning of your flight and you're good to go. Slot it in here. Okay, and the 249 weight, by the way, 249 grams includes the battery, the memory card. Do not believe it includes this protective gimbal cover, and it does not include the propeller guards. Okay, so if you want to be on the right side of the law, can't really add too much to the drone at this point. I mean, you can add a very light filter to the lens. We'll talk about that in a bit. You press this button once, and then you press it, long press, and the drone starts. And it's ready to fly. So within 10 seconds, I have the drone up. This is the controller right here that the drone comes with. Okay, fold this guy out, also very compact. These little joystick handles get stowed away here. You connect them like this. Controller works exactly the same way. You press this button and you press it again, and the controller's up. So in about 30 seconds, provided there's a nice flat surface, I can have the drone ready to fly, which is pretty crazy considering the capabilities of this little thing. Okay, the antenna's here, and to turn it off works exactly the same way. Quick, press it again, it's off. Unscrew these guys for storage, and DJI does give you a couple extras if you get the Fly More combo. And you do get various types of cables. This is a lightning port cable. I fly the drone with my iPhone, but right now I'm using my iPhone to record the video. But it also comes with a USB-C, micro USB, so just about any smartphone. So you get the drone, the controller, and the battery hub. That's literally all you need to fly. This is a fast little drone. In regular mode, it goes 8 meters per second max speed, which is 28 kilometers per hour. And in sport mode, it goes up to 13 meters per second, 46 kilometers per hour. Now, you wouldn't be getting very good quality video in sport mode because it's just going way too fast, and the video is going to come out choppy and jittery. There's also a slower cinematic mode, which slows the drone down to get you even better shots than in normal mode. So the lens is a 24 millimeter equivalent. Okay, so it's a pretty wide view and focuses from 1 meter all the way out to infinity. This drone actually takes optional clip-on filters that you can put on the camera. I don't personally use them, but you can put circular polarizers, ND filters on here. If you have an exact shot lined up and you know what you're doing with ND filters and polarizers, I think it could be a good creative tool, but I don't think it's strictly necessary. It's a 3-axis gimbal. very steady video. Can also be controlled with the controller to face all the way down. This is a 1/2.3 inch sensor, kind of the sensor from the compact cameras, 12 megapixels, but mostly we're in it for the video, right? So it shoots up to 2.7K video. I tend to shoot it at 1080p. As a photographer, it's really annoying how DJI did not enable raw photos. Now that's probably just a software limitation they imposed. There was no need to limit that capability, but that was just a way for them to differentiate the product lineup, I guess. There is no 4K video. As I said, it's up to 2.7K. I wouldn't even be shooting 4K because I don't have a computer that can reasonably edit 4K. Now, I understand if you're a professional, it helps to have 4K, not only for the resolution, but even if your output is going to be a lower resolution, you can do all sorts of panning or zooming in if you just have more information to work with. The biggest weakness of this drone, guys, is the fact that it's on a Wi-Fi connection. It is not using DJI's OcuSync technology. Even the DJI Mavic Mini 2, guys, has the DJI OcuSync technology, which would greatly expand the range of this drone. Because as it stands now, there's a lot of interference from other networks in urban environments. So if you're in a city, the actual range of this drone, I think, is nowhere near the theoretical limit of 4 kilometers. I'm personally not comfortable flying it more than 700 meters away. I try to stay within 500 meters, partly because I don't want to lose line of sight of the drone. But yeah, I've had connectivity issues with this drone, flying it around a river bend, for example, where I lost line of sight, and then the drone was actually temporarily lost connection. So I had to walk, or rather run, towards where I thought the drone would be, and the connection was reestablished. Drone is also, like all DJI drones, limited by DJI's restricted zones. Now, this is not really a fault of DJI. This is DJI, complying with government and local laws and regulations. The drone does not have any obstacle avoidance, guys. I mean, it has sensors at the bottom here, so it knows when it's close to the ground. But in terms of side to side, forward or back, there is no obstacle avoidance. Likewise, there is no follow mode for this drone. That's more of a creative limitation, I think. You can get around the lack of raw photo limitation by shooting multiple shots because you are able to control the exposure compensation. So if you shoot a shot at a normal EV and then maybe -1 EV and then +1 EV, you can stitch them together later in Lightroom and get like an HDR picture. It's possible, but I consider it to be a supreme waste of time. If we just had raw photo capability, we wouldn't necessarily need to play these games. And also, there's no guarantee that the drone will be stable. The main weakness of the Mavic Mini is wind resistance. So once the wind goes above a certain speed, you start to get high wind warnings. I get quite nervous and bring it back because I don't want the wind to overpower it and carry it away, which is a huge risk, especially if you live near coastal areas. Okay, even if the wind is not that strong on the beach, for example, once you take the drone up 20, 30, 40, 50 meters, things start to get quite windy. And the whole thing, the drone, the battery pack, all that gets stored in this handy little case that you get when you buy the Fly More combo. Okay, battery hub in here, maybe another little box with some other accessories. The DJI gives you like screwdriver, extra propellers, extra joystick, extra joysticks for the controller, extra screws in case any get loose. Close up the case and it's ready to put in a day pack or a travel pack, and you can easily travel with it. Keep in mind, I am a novice drone pilot. I'm not a professional. Even with very basic skills and a bit of practice, I was able to get footage that I'm quite happy with. You can cheat a bit by shooting at sunset or sunrise, the golden hour that photographers know and love, because you're just going to get that softer, warmer light, and everything is going to look more glorious. I tend to shoot all my footage at 1080p, 30 FPS. I like to save bandwidth and space on my memory card. I use auto exposure, no filters, maybe some exposure compensation adjustment if the situation calls for it. Like for example, if the sun is very bright or if the water or snow is very reflective underneath. If we think of DJI as kind of the Apple of consumer drones, this would be an iPad. Okay, if the Mavic Air is literally like the MacBook Air and the Mavic Pro is the MacBook Pro, okay, this is the iPad of drones. It's a stripped down version of their flagship product, but it's good enough for most people, and it's certainly good enough for me. Now, do I wish I had the Mavic Mini 2? Yeah, I do, because it has a lot of the stuff that's missing from this one, like most notably OcuSync, a whole bunch of other new features. And I think DJI realized that they really should start cannibalizing themselves before any potential competition shows up. But this, the release of the Mavic Mini 2 greatly pushes down the cost of this little guy. So that's one good thing it has going for it. And these really should be plummeting in price on the used market now. If you need a drone for super professional purposes, like you're doing commercial shooting, maybe you're starting a real estate photography, videography business, I would say the minimum drone you should be getting is the Mavic Air, okay, because that one gives you more information to work with, and the videos are going to be more conducive to color grading and things like that. So if you're planning to actually color correct your videos, apply some kind of special effects to them and whatnot, maybe it might be worth it to get a Mavic Air 2 or Mavic Pro. But for people like me who just do basic magic wand style editing in iMovie, or extremely basic cuts and transitions, the Mavic Mini is more than enough. Okay, I'm not planning to do any color grading. I mean, you can absolutely color grade this footage. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that it helps to have more of bitrate, more information in your files when you do that. And so you may want to upgrade to something like the Mavic Air or Mavic Pro. DJI's main goal was to get it under 250 grams, and if you think about just how much technology they've packed into a drone that fits into the palm of your hand, weighs under 250 grams, and you can purchase with the Fly More combo for under 500 bucks these days, I think it's quite marvelous. Just imagine having this kind of technology in your hands 10 years ago. I would have laughed. It's kind of the minimum viable drone. Okay, when you compare it to the Tello, there's absolutely no comparison. It's a lot better. And when you compare it to the more expensive drones, I mean, it is less capable, but it's also a lot less expensive. And I think for the vast majority of hobbyist users, or people like me who don't fly the drone every day, who may fly it once a week, maybe once a month, more often when I'm traveling, this is a good enough drone. It's compact, it goes with you anywhere. If you really don't care about video or photo and you just want to fly a quadcopter in your apartment, you get the DJI Tello. I have a video about that. But if you do want to take stunning video, create some memories, I think this is the cheapest drone you should be looking at. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.